So I decided to put my raspberries in one of the raised boxes in front of the greenhouse. I wasn't too sure where I wanted to put it, and I thought this would be a great spot simply because it's an easy place to access it as a snack. I find with the kids, or the kids bigger than small, when they're hanging out over at our little picnic table thing, when we're doing the pool or just having a hangout, getting outside, doing our thing, it's really nice to have things right here. I noticed that everyone was eating a lot more vegetables and snacking out of the garden instead of going to the pantry for the cookies and the crackers and stuff last year. So I really want to go with this again and try to put a variety. Last year it was mostly just peas and carrots that were up in here, and like some peppers and a few little odds and ends. Celery, those were the kind of things that everyone was kind of snacking on up here. But I wanted some berries, some strawberries, and raspberries. So the raspberries, I have 3 different varieties, and for them, the first variety is just a Boyne raspberry. I have 2 of them. Now, the Boyne raspberry, they have they're a July producer. So in the month of July, we'll get a big harvest because they do quite a bit of they produce a lot of berries. So this one and this one are both Boynes, and I know I put them quite close together. I do plan to prune them heavily and keep this in check up here. The variety right here that I have is a Canby. Now this variety, it produces in August and September. So when those ones are not producing, the Boynes aren't producing, this one will produce, and it has a very heavy harvest. It produces a lot of berries. This one is a heritage, and this one, it produces in June and September, and it already has little I think it was this, oh no, it was this one, I think. Never mind, I thought it was this one that had little thingies on it already. But it has 2 cycles, so June and September. So we'll have raspberries throughout the entire summer, and it'll be where the kids hang out, where everyone hangs out in our backyard, and or when they're working in the shop, it's nice and convenient to just come over and grab a snack while they're waiting for paint to dry or whatever. The guys are most likely to eat raspberries if they're right here. If they're over there, they're not going to eat them. But if they're right here, they'll eat them. And so that's the goal. Placement, location, location, location. Okay, we're going to get a storm. So a thunderstorm rolling in here, and I want to get this fertilized and pruned before we get, I don't think it's going to be a lot of rain. I think it's just going to be a lot of wind and stuff, but I wanted to get this fertilized. So what I like to do with all of my shrubs is I like to fertilize a ring around the drip line, because that's where the root system would be on the outside of the hedge itself, or the perimeter of the leaf, like the leaves. So the drip line, meaning where the edge of the plant is, where the water would drip down, that's where there's likely going to be some, or the end of the roots, where the roots are going to be most active. So that's where I want to go before I prune it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and kind of make a line around approximately, ow, don't have long sleeves, and a rose wants to kill me right now. Ouch, it hurts. Be more prepared than me. That's all I have to say. Just more chicken drama. It's okay. They do this all the time. It's an ordeal. What I got here is just a shrub and evergreen fertilizer, just a standard food for shrubs. I would usually do one specific for roses, but I don't have one. So I'm just gonna do this, sprinkle it around, get the weeds out. I don't want to feed the weeds. And around the drip line we go. There. And then I'm going to cover it back up with mulch and water it in. So that looks okay. I'm not really worried about making it all pretty right now. I just want to get it fed before it wakes up because it's still dormant. If it's alive, I think it is. It hasn't really given much sign of life yet, but we are pretty warm or cool still, so I don't expect it to be waking up anytime soon. There's a branch there. Go there. Yeah, it's a little green in there. Super, it's not completely dead. Yeah, I need gloves to do this. There, that looks much better. So we made sure that we fertilized where the roots are. And I'm going to throw that around. Why not? All right. So I'm not going to pull too much of these dead leaves off yet because I don't have gloves on and I don't want to rip my skin any worse than it already is from this thing. It already lay licking on me. So I'm just going to leave that down around. I'm going to leave all that thorny bits that I just cut off on the branches around the bottom because I'm hoping it'll detour any animals from digging around where I just fertilized it, like the cats or the dogs or the chickens. They've been leaving it alone though because every time they go near it, they get sprayed with a hose. So they've learned to stay away. So now I'm going to go do the hydrangea. I had pruned this, so it's not really easy to tell where the drip line is, but I kind of am going off of memory of where I pruned it at. So I already cleared away, as you can see, I cleared away the mulch, and I'm just going to fertilize around that and water it in. It's actually really wet still. There's a lot of moisture in here. I have a little bit too much mulch, I think. Which might be a good thing considering we've had such cold weather. There's a lot of moisture in there. So I'm just using the same fertilizer as I did over at the other one. But the reason why a lot of perennials or shrubs die out in our climate or like our winter killed isn't because of the cold temperatures. It's usually because they are lacking moisture. You're supposed to actually water your perennials in the winter. So I'm kind of hopeful that it was moist enough in here that like there's a lot of moisture in this bed. It was really heavily mulched and I didn't water it at all. So I'm hoping that it stayed hydrated enough that it didn't like winter kill this because I don't really see any life, but hydrangeas are kind of funny. You think they're dead and then they surprise you. So just kind of feed it, give it a good dose of food, and we'll call it good. I'll have to pack some water over here because my hose won't reach. But that's basically it. I'm just going to put the mulch over top and water it in, and we're good. Like I said, I pruned it earlier. I didn't want to risk it being awake at all while I pruned it. This one here, I'm pretty sure it is not going to survive. Yeah, I don't think it survived at all. This one is dead as a doornail, so I'll dig this one out, and I'm going to I have a shrub to go here. Actually, it's an elderberry shrub I'm going to put in its place. So now I know where it's gonna go. I was like, where am I gonna put the elderberry? That's the perfect place right there. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so this guy I'm pretty sure is dead, and I decided I'm gonna put this elderberry here in its place. They relatively would get to the same size, and I don't have the label thing for this guy. I see there's a little bit of green here, and it gives me hope, but yeah, there's a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm in a pickle. Will this come back? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig it out because it does not like this spot. And I'm going to put the elderberry here, and I'm going to put this in a pot, a larger pot, and I'm going to try to nurse it and find a better place, a better location for it where it might like it a little better, because it doesn't really like this spot at all. It just never did well here whatsoever. It is like dry. When the branch snaps, it's dead. Dead. So we're gonna fix this right now. You see that? It's still frozen. It's ice. It's cold. So I'm not gonna plant that elderberry quite yet in here. It's just a little too cold. That's why that hasn't woke up yet. It's because it's still frozen. Okay, so I'm trying to think about where I should put this for now, and I think I have a solution. I'm just gonna put it in a plant pot and see how it goes. But what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to give it a pruning and see if we can kind of get it to recover. But see, I don't like this right here. Like, I don't think it's alive. So yeah, this thing shows very little sign of life. That just bends off and breaks. So I think she's well, maybe. No, she's done. There's no life in this tree. Rest in peace, little tree. So, compost it is. Unfortunately, it happens. I got this tree last year, and I was really excited. It had a hard winter 2 years in a row, and so hopefully little elderberry will do much better. So I'm just going to actually take this back over to the greenhouse and let the chickens have fun with that hole, and they can work that frost out, and I'm going to call it a day. Go make the kids some snacks. This is how I roll around here. My little waste not, want not. Still good. Still waiting on that sponsorship for a gorilla wagon. If anyone's interested, mind you. This one does the job usually. Driver error. There we go. I kind of like to use it because I think it annoys Chaz. And me. But I definitely wanted to give an update on the planter. I did another coat this morning of that stain walnut, and I really like it. And so when I know for sure it's not going to rain, because it's not so promising right now, and then I want to go and do the perimeter all the way around and get this cleaned up, but I have other things to get done today, so I think I'm going to call that a wrap. And yeah, yard work will continue tomorrow, hopefully. Thanks for watching. Much love.